Are you exhausted or are you depleted? In today's video, we're going to answer that question for you. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Alex Neal, and I am a divorce recovery coach. I help women who are on the other side of divorce stop running on empty so they can build a life that's actually theirs. And today we're going to talk about the difference between being exhausted and being depleted. I've been thinking a lot recently about the things that used to fill me up. And it was simple things like doing puzzles or enjoying a good piece of chocolate, getting lost in a good book. And when I actually sat with it, I couldn't tell you when I'd taken the time to do any of them. It's not like I decided overnight to stop any of them. It's more like they kind of fell away. And over time, food became this whole thing I was managing instead of enjoying. And it felt like it was loaded with all of this emotional baggage. What came up for me was not about discipline or making better choices. Fundamentally, it was really about one thing. I was running on empty and sleep wasn't fixing it. What that is depletion. And it's not the same as exhaustion, even though we treat them the same way. So here's the difference. Exhaustion is all about output. You've given too much for too long. Think about spending hours planting tomatoes to be ready for summer. In these instances, rest helps. A real weekend, a few nights of sleep, and you start feeling like yourself all over again. Depletion is more about actually the absence of input. You've been drawing from the well without refilling it, and it's basically dry. You can sleep all you want, you still wake up depleted. You can take the whole weekend off and still feel hollow on Monday. Because depletion doesn't respond to rest, but it responds to replenishment. And those two things are not the same. Think of it this way. You have a beautiful garden. Exhaustion looks like wilted plants because you haven't watered them. Depletion is more like your plants aren't growing because there's no nourishment left in the soil. One is easily fixable. Give them some water. In this case, get some rest. The other takes more time. It's more about feeding the soil so that it can give back to the plants what they need. In that case, we're looking at things that we can do that light us up. Another way to look at it is that rest is passive and replenishment is active. And until you know which one you need, you're not really going to be able to solve it. And here's why you might miss this. We're wired to produce, to figure it out, to push through, to keep moving. And that drive is one of our greatest strengths, but it's also why we're so good at overriding our own signals. Depletion doesn't come in like a one-man band, right? It feels more like a quiet nudging, and your brain would love for you to believe that it's a performance problem. So you think, I'll just push through. I have a friend who used to say, I can sleep when I'm dead. Does it sound familiar? So what do? You aim to rest later because you don't have time for this right now. And it's only when you finally feel like you're at the end of your rope that you reluctantly agree to take some time for yourself. So what do? You shift into focus. You do more. You check more boxes in other areas of your life because it feels different. And you do it because it's familiar. It's what you know how to do life. And it almost always works, but not when you're depleted, because accomplishment is not nourishment. Just like doing more of what already depleted you is not replenishment. After going through a divorce, this probably runs especially deep. Years of emotional labor, holding things together, pouring yourself into a marriage and a household, and maybe even becoming somebody that you don't even recognize. When you come out on the other side, the instinct is to immediately channel all of that energy into rebuilding. And I love that. But it's a slippery slope to depletion if you don't take the time to fill up the tank. And depletion is actually trying to tell you something. And despite the fact that your brain wants you to believe that it's either a character flaw or proof that you can't handle your life, what it is really is a signal. It shows up when you've been giving without receiving, producing but not creating, doing things out of obligation with little to no thanks. And it shows up in a small way. It's that hobby that you don't have the energy to give time to. It's the Sunday afternoon headaches that come in ready for Monday morning. It's the doom scrolling because you just don't have the energetic bandwidth for anything else. All of those things that filled you up were your fuel, but they were the first things to go when you had to make room for more. But that's the thing. They are what breathes life into us. So try this. Let's not tackle this like we do everything else, like a mission. There's no overhauling here. Start by answering this question honestly. What's one thing that used to bring you joy that you've stopped doing? And I'm not talking about the big stuff. I'm talking about small things, like going for a walk without listening to a podcast. I actually did that last week, and it reminded me that walking in nature is one of my happy places. Try cooking something just because, not whether it's good for you or not, but just because it brings you joy. Pick up a book that you're reading for pleasure, not for growth. Those are all little things that will help. So you can start by pausing and trying to think about, where are you? Are you exhausted or are you depleted? They may feel the same. They may feel actually the same in your body. So if you have recently been working really hard towards a goal, that is more likely to be exhaustion. If you have been in mental loop hell where you just keep replaying things over and over and over in your mind, chances are that is going to be depletion. Try to start small. We're not talking about setting up a whole new routine, more like finding something that you can give yourself as a gift. Don't make replenishment productive. The second that you think, I'll do this while I listen to that, stop. All that is exhaustion under better branding. Let the thing that you're doing be the thing. So, bottom line is, keeping it together is not the same as thriving. And when you stop doing the things that light you up, that's exactly when you need real food, soul food, the kind that you get not by what you're putting in your mouth, but the kind that makes you feel warm and fuzzy and all good inside. And you can't wait for your life to slow down before you start replenishing yourself. Do it now. Do it in small, consistent ways. Prioritizing your own needs isn't selfish. It's how you can finally thrive. Do you think you can tell the difference between being depleted and exhausted? And what is one thing that you used to love that you've kind of forgotten about, but still brings a smile on your face? Do you think you can find some time this week to do that? Let me know. I'd love to hear your experience.